To understand the colossus that is modern China, one must first look backward, not by decades but by millennia. The heartbeat of Chinese civilization is preserved not just in its concrete skyscrapers or economic policies, but in the cyclical rhythm of its traditional festivals. These celebrations are not mere holidays. They are living fossils of cultural memory, intertwining agriculture, astronomy, mythology, and statecraft. The origins of Chinese festivals date back more than 3,000 to 4,000 years, rooted deeply in the soil of the Shang and Zhou dynasties. In ancient times, life was dictated by the heavens and the earth. The early Chinese people watched the waxing and waning of the moon, the shifting of the winds, and the changing of the seasons with absolute reverence. Survival depended entirely on agriculture. Festivals emerged primarily as sacred ritual windows, moments when humanity paused to communicate with the cosmos, appease ancestral spirits, and thank the gods for a bountiful harvest. Over centuries, these agrarian rituals evolved. What began as sacrificial offerings to the soil and the sun transformed into vibrant community celebrations during the Han Dynasty, when the lunar calendar became standardized. Festivals became the social glue holding a vast empire together, reinforcing familial duties, Confucian hierarchies, and Taoist harmony with nature. At the pinnacle of this festive tapestry stands the Spring Festival, known globally as the Chinese New Year. This is not just a single day of celebration, but a 15-day grand spectacle that represents the largest annual human migration on planet Earth, known as Chunyun. Millions of people traverse continents and provinces just to share a single meal with their families on New Year's Eve. The genesis of the Chinese New Year is steeped in terror and triumph. According to ancient lore, a cruel predatory beast named Nian, with the head of a lion and the body of a bull, would emerge from the sea or mountains at the end of winter to devour crops, livestock, and villagers. The people lived in absolute dread until an old wise man discovered the beast's weaknesses. It feared the color red, bright lights, and loud noises. Thus, a tradition was born. Every year, homes were draped in crimson banners, lanterns were lit, and bamboo was burned to create loud, cracking sounds, the ancestors of today's fireworks. The beast was deterred, and the survival of the community was celebrated. The phrase Guanyan, which today means celebrating the new year, literally translates to overcoming the beast Nian. While China's heart belongs to its ancient traditions, its modern reality is fueled by an economic engine that has rewritten the rules of global geopolitics. Over the past 4 decades, since the implementation of reform and opening up policies in the late 20th century, China has undergone an economic miracle unprecedented in human history, lifting over 800 million people out of poverty. Today, China stands as the world's second-largest economy by nominal GDP and the largest by purchasing power parity, PPP. It is no longer just the factory of the world churning out cheap plastic goods. It is a global superpower in advanced technology, green energy, and infrastructure. The ripples of China's economic health are felt in every corner of the globe. A slowdown in Chinese construction alters the price of iron ore in Australia. A rise in Chinese consumer spending boosts tech companies in Silicon Valley and fashion houses in Paris. Through its massive financial reserves, China has become a primary creditor to nations across Africa, Latin America, and Asia, cementing its role as an indispensable pillar of global capitalism. An economic giant requires a formidable shield, and for China, that shield is the People's Liberation Army, or the PLA. Founded in 1927 as a guerrilla force, the PLA has transformed into one of the most technologically advanced and formidable military forces on Earth. Unlike Western militaries, the PLA holds a unique political status. It is the armed wing of the ruling Communist Party, tasked fundamentally with protecting the party's sovereignty and national territorial integrity. The modern PLA focuses heavily on the doctrine of informationized and intelligentized warfare, integrating artificial intelligence, cyber capabilities, and space assets into traditional combat systems. The PLA Navy now boasting the largest numerical fleet of ships in the world, the Navy has transformed from a coastal defense force into a true blue water navy. With multiple operational aircraft carriers and advanced stealth destroyers, China projects power far into the Pacific and Indian Oceans. The PLA rocket force controls China's vast arsenal of conventional and nuclear ballistic missiles. The Strategic Support Force operates in the shadows, unifying China's cyber warfare, electronic warfare, and space exploration capabilities. As China's economic and military might grows, its interactions with the rest of the world have become highly intricate, shifting between profound interdependence and intense strategic rivalry. The central pillar of China's foreign policy is the Belt and Road Initiative, a monumental, multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure project aiming to recreate the ancient Silk Road. By funding and building railways, ports, pipelines, and highways across Asia, Europe, Africa, and Latin America, Beijing has woven a web of economic reliance that reshapes global trade routes in its favor. The relationship between Washington and Beijing is arguably the most critical geopolitical dynamic of the 21st century. Characterized by historians as a new Cold War, it is defined by intense competition over technological supremacy, trade tariffs, and ideological systems. Bound by shared grievances against Western dominance, China and Russia have forged a relationship described as a partnership with no limits. Across Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia, China is often viewed through a lens of opportunity, offering loans and infrastructure development without the political strings or human rights conditions often demanded by Western institutions. The world does not look at China through a single lens. Instead, the global perspective is fragmented, driven by varying national interests, economic realities, and ideological beliefs. To the developed Western nations, China is viewed with a mixture of awe and deep anxiety. There is a profound concern over human rights, state surveillance, and the challenge that a rising authoritarian superpower poses to the rules-based international order. Conversely, to much of the developing world, China represents a blueprint for rapid modernization. It is seen as a vital partner that builds roads, hospitals, and digital networks where others feared to invest. On a personal level, the world's fascination with China is growing. Millions of students globally study Mandarin, drawn by the career prospects offered by Chinese corporate giants. Tourists flock to see the intersection of antiquity and futurism, where the Great Wall meets facial recognition payment systems. Whether viewed as an existential threat, an economic savior, or a cultural marvel, China can no longer be ignored. From the ancient villagers scaring away the mythical beast Nian with fire and red banners, to the modern engineers launching quantum satellites into orbit, China's journey is a testament to the power of continuity. It is a civilization that has survived empires, wars, revolutions, and famines by holding fast to its cultural roots while ruthlessly adapting to the demands of modernization. China does not view its current rise as a new phenomenon, but rather as a return to its rightful historical position at the center of human affairs. As the red lanterns of the Spring Festival continue to light up cities across the globe, they serve as a reminder. China's past, present, and future are deeply woven into the fabric of our shared global destiny. The dragon has awakened, and its breath shapes the world we live in today.